Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Firstbeat webinar, where we're going to speak about team and athlete monitoring with Firstbeat. My name is Oskar Sernsteins, and I'm the athletic performance coach of the Latvian men's basketball team. We started implementing Firstbeat into our training session last season, just before the World Cup. First lecturer will be Gianluca Mattoncini, who is physical conditioning and monitoring of the EuroLeague officiated section, as well performance advisor for Italian Basketball Federation of Liga A referees, and specializes in the use of Firstbeat. He will speak about the features of the Firstbeat sports sensors and how to best implement it in the training process. Second lecturer will be Zana Schmidt, who is researcher and lecturer at the University of Latvia, a sports science consultant and head of sports diagnostics at Kaizen Gym. She will speak about how to use the heart rate to evaluate training intensity, how to evaluate external training load using accelerometry, and altogether how to combine these parameters to get more comprehensive view of the athlete. We encourage for you to ask questions in the chat, and we'll answer them at the end of the webinar, which will be approximately around 2 hours. All right, let's get it going. Therefore, please welcome Gianluca.
Nice to everybody. Okay, we start to share my computer. Okay, perfect. Okay, let's start to talk about this one. My idea is my interview will be to start to talk all the features that Firstbeat can give us and the sports sensor, and just to arrive at the end with an idea, with something to using and standardize training session to evaluate training adaptation. So keep going. Firstbeat is we know Firstbeat Sport. I hope that everybody we know, but I want to make some introduction as an athletic performance management for basketball. Like we know, the problem usually is coaching needs better ways to utilize information to maximize squad potential. About for this one, they need to identify individual athletic necessity, needs, customize training plans for athletes, identify long-term performance trends, and optimize each athlete's performance. This is the reach that we are going through for everybody of us. Firstbeat Sport optimize the planning and training in real time, and after session we can lead in physiological performance modeling and analysis. He make a lot of stuff. He can help us individualize training with easy to use, understand each athlete's unique physiological capabilities to assess their training loading, and make adjustment to each player training plans with confidence. Okay, so other things, advanced physiological modeling and machine learning. That is a good things that they have, and Firstbeat give us internal and external load analysis. They have a large elite sports physiological database and the real-time management lab and all the data in real time. Okay, that all of these things help us to training planning, return to play, help us in on and off season training, the training team, so we can individualize the training only one athletes or all the athletes, and so we arrive even to work through around injury risk management, okay, and game day optional. How it works? Usually we attach sensor, is a belt. After, in this way, we can have a real time, and we'll see directly all the data in by iPads with the go through an app that you can download in an iPad or even in your iPhone or even other phone, classic phone, Google phone or other. After this, we have to analyze data. We can analyze data on Firstbeat platform, and we can have even post-analysis report. All these features are available with integration about many things of that one, like you can see in the presentation, Kama, Kitman Labs, Top TML, Smart Base, GPX, Kinexon, and so on. They are going through to make a lot of integration with many of these. So keep going to start to analyze what we are looking for, because we saw that we have a lot of, I can say, a lot of analysis, a lot of data, but the fix and the main focus on this presentation is internal and external load analysis. Like I said, the sports sensor, so the belt is the principal objective, the principal focus that help us. What is very important that this kind of sports sensor already analyze everything and give us all the feature and measurement that we can see on the right spot. Heart rate, epoch, trimp is the training pulse, movement load intensity, energy, aerobic and anaerobic training effect, and time in height zone. This is just some of that. How you can see easy data collection from athlete groups in different locations with the automated data download processed by Firstbeat Sport app, indoor and outdoor. And here there are all the characteristics of this kind of sports sensor. The heart rate, now we go through about another part. Heart rate derive K performance, like we said, aerobic and anaerobic. Triumph per minute, triumph, acute train load, water. But how we can trust that these data are accurate? This is a big problem that we have in the sports team. I want to demonstrate and show that there are some new studies that tell us that, for example, Firstbeat sports sensor on the field and in research lab, they give us 6 or 5% of poor quality data. On the other side, heart rate vest in research give us 31% of poor data. And you know that is very important. This is a big misunderstanding that there is now. Heart rate vest is very important, I think, in my opinion, with GPS, because it is comfortable and easy to use. The problem that when we are going to research and we are going to see that the data of heart rate are not great quality because 30% is too much, we have to think about, okay? This is a simple, just to understand. The sensor gives measure data is average with this low quality, and with the high quality, like sports sensor Firstbeat, it can be better. And for sure is the right one. Even because we are talking about something that's very important, and even the change of there is a little change in details that can move up and down. So it's very important to understand and to have a good quality. For example, this is another one, some data accuracy, 4% of measure error, 31%. And this means that the time in height zone intensity is 25 difference. Energy expenditure, 100 kilocalories difference in single session. Trimp and acute load, there is a big difference, a huge difference. On the other side, even the accuracy of Firstbeat sports sensor is going down from when it's coming out 2019 until now. There is a big and good step that they did to make a better and less error. Another thing very important is the real-time monitoring. So indirectly, you can keep track of the physiology impact of your training activities in real time and make change in training load on the fly when we need. We have graph it with number, and we have line graph of the selection variables. This is a classic real-time monitoring. It's very nice, it's very impactful, and very easy to understand. You have all the athletes in the low, and the graph move from the left to right, and so go on with the time. line can help. One thing that you can do directly in the moment is the lap tool. So we can decide, and it will be very important, to stop and to design a part in the moment, so you can put a lap and understand and train note and write note about what we are going to do during the practice. Because for sure we know that you start before to organize the practice, but in the way that the coach decide everything, we have to be able to understand and take note of everything after, for a better visualization after. So keep going on a heart rate monitoring basketball. What focus on? We want a determination of internal load. In this way, we can have a differentiation from aerobic and anaerobic work and areas in percentage of heart rate maximum. Okay, that gives us a training effect. That is something metrics that Firstbeat built, and we are talking about this after. I want to just make easy things, stupid numbers, but numbers give us an idea. I take basically team in Italy, no cup, just to understand where we are talking for, and we are talking that the preparation, physical preparation, is from 120 to 180 minutes, so 2 hours and 20 minutes around maximum, means that is 1 of 10 of the weekly practice time. So is a little part. Why I show these numbers? Because my reflection, my idea is we have to find a way during the practice, the basketball practice with the ball, to thank you to the features that Firstbeat in this case give us. We have to take a note and to have an idea of the workout and the workload that arrive to our players. Okay, so consider that classic physical preparation is 1 of 10 of the time, so nothing, and is the part that we control. We have to take note even of the other things. Internal training load, what we are talking before, that the things that we can use with the heart rate, and we can find from heart rate. From a research in Pellizzeri, Marcora, and Kutz, 2018, so already is far away, but it's the internal load rather than the external load, which ultimately determines the functional outcome of the training, and therefore should be monitored. I think that this is very important because I'm agree with this one. I think that especially in basket is very important. Is important even the external load, but the main things is what effect has the request, the drills and the exercise, the training, the practice that we do, which kind of effect has in our body, because every athlete has different situation, starting from different condition, and if even is different the situation of the day when he start to practice. So a practice can give a different answer to our body. This is an example. Internal load drives their training outcome. How we can say only way to know players' training response to give stimulus is to measure the internal load every session. Why? How you can say here we have movement load and movement intensity are the basically the external load that is coming from the Firstbeat tools, but I can say are plus or minus the same. Movement load 442, 429, and 434. Movement intensity, there is no big difference or statistical difference, but completely different is the training response, so the cardio, the pulse that you can find. And only each one of these, they have different internal response. And so this one make the huge difference, even to the rest, and even to understand how is the conditioning. Every athlete, this is another example. Every athlete is built different. Following the athlete's plays, same position, they have the same training with nearly identical external load result. You can see on the presentation different heart rate and why there is a huge gap. You can see trimp is 262, sorry, and on the other side 165. So big difference. 100 of trimp is a lot of even calories, but it's not so much important. Why it's happened is because if we are going through, we see that one guy is a freshman and the other is a senior. But there is a 63% of difference from these two kind of situation. So I remind, internal load is very important to understand the effect that they have in our athletes. A little bit other features that sensor give us. Training effect. This is something that Firstbeat developed from many years, and is nice because it's important because measure the impact of training and they make a difference from aerobic and anaerobic fitness. There is a scale that brings us, and what is important that they develop this kind of situation and this kind of measurement from the two different physical qualities, aerobic and anaerobic. Okay, so show aerobic and anaerobic training effect distribution side by side for an easy comparison. Show which type of fitness is being maintained or improved during a session. Help to ensure training methods are supporting desired outcomes. So the focus that we have to give to our practice, and this way we can understand if we are rich or not. Another difference, aerobic and anaerobic training impacting the body in a lot of ways. Okay, we know an example. What is important affecting anaerobic training, that is something most important in basketball, improved ability to produce high level of energy anaerobically and turn into sprinting performance improved. Improved anaerobic even metabolism and enzyme activity, elevated CP and ATP stored in the muscle. So there is a huge and big difference. This is the training effect that we can summarize. Intensity, when we are talking aerobic load, intensity of world max and epoch modeling. And on the other, anaerobic load, high intensity interval detection, and anaerobic work modeling. These two kind of things, epoch modeling and anaerobic work modeling, are building and are coming out from big research that Firstbeat has, because they have a lot of numbers. So it's something that they are fixed and they are focused on their process and on their protocol. Okay, so we can have a different situation. Train as you play. So it's very important that in all the sports training plan, everything starts from understanding the request of the game, the physical request of the game. Okay, especially in team sport, there are technically, tactically, and skill aspects require a lot of attention. But on the other side, we have to understand even which the physical aspect that give us a different aspect and different help. Trimp and trimp per minutes, in this case, provide useful load and pace metrics tool to catalog internal response to games, drills, and training session. How we said even before with training effect and with epoch and anaerobic, trimp requires sport-specific scaling in order to utilize it maximally in training plan. For example, this is the difference in sport, and we can see the different sports like Aussie football, American football, basketball, and you can see the huge difference that they can be in trimp, in mean trimp per minutes and maximum trimp per minutes. This is just a store of all the data that they have, and we can see the difference and how is important. In this case, thinking about and talking about trimp and trimp per minutes, training impulse trimp is considered the intensity and the duration of exercise, so calculated by heart rate reserve method and measured in minutes. Trimp per minutes is a rate, show the rate of which training load is accumulated over a period of time. Okay, so one time trimp is a way to quantify the training load and stress placed on the athlete, on the players, and is represented by a single number. Trimp per minutes indicate the load density of a session. And this is very important. This is a metrics important that give us Firstbeat. This most of the time give us the internal load that is placed on the athletes. And in this way, we can compare in different time of practice, and we can compare even during the season and during all the practice. What is important, even just to be the quality, is that the Bannister, the first trimp is based on the Bannister model. And originally, a question used mean heart rate in the calculation of the load. Firstbeat Sport, the sensor, as the trimp score is updated bit by bit basis to avoid the heart rate averaging, which can lend to underestimation of intensity in intermittent sport. So it came through from a better quality, and so give us a specific and precise focus and directly intermittent sport, directly data. This is an idea. This is the model and the calculation of everything. And how you can see from easy training, moderated training, hard training. This is they take this and they coming out from the studies and from the lot of the numbers that they have, and so they can understand some area, different area, where you can put and you can decide which kind of training is this. Okay. Instead of this, we have trimp per minute that is in real time, so you can show in every moment, and the training load is accumulated over a period of time. So the density of the practice, and you can compare in different practice and different duration of the practice. Okay. What is important? Can go on. Now we are talking about internal measurement, internal load. Now there are other metrics that you can find on the and you can see in the platform of Firstbeat. Other metrics are external load measurement, because inside of the sport sensor you can have even another tools that is accelerometer, three-dimensional accelerometer, that can give us a movement load, a movement intensity, and movement efficiency. Let's go through easy and faster. Collect all the data detected through three-dimensional accelerometer, and so with this calculation it gives us a big number. How you can say, even from these numbers, we can understand and we can make summarize some easy training effect, movement load range, and movement intensity range. How you can see easy, moderate, and hard. Men and women, this is coming from the numbers that they have. And step by step, we go through and we understand better the situation. And even the movement that you do. So we can decide the easy, if the workout and the practice that you did are easy, moderate, or hard. Firstbeat load analytics, they have movement load, like I say, collect all the movements data, detect the two-dimensional acceleration sensor, and movement load per minute, that is calling average movement intensity. You can see this one at the end in the recording of in the graph at the end of the practice, but even directly you can see in live up in real-time view. After in the cloud, and you can export and make other measurements. For sure, we are talking about external load, so a new tools and new things that we can fix and organize and consider with internal load, that it give us the quality and the quantity of the movement. How you can see, we have movement load and average movement intensity. The spike that you saw here on the graph are the movement intensity. Is another things because give us the intensity of the single movement. Okay, I will see something. Other metrics is movement efficiency, that is movement load in relation with the trim. And more movement you can produce with less effort, better your efficiency. This is important metrics that give us the quality of the movement and how is efficiency the movement that you do. It's coming through from the ability to move on the court, in this case, because we are talking about basketball, and the efficiency. Usually is better in the experienced athlete. When we are talking about our basketball player, and we know the difference, like we saw before, we saw before in this slide. I'm coming back 1 second, but this freshman and senior, this different intensity, for sure, or one part of this is coming through from movement efficiency, because a senior player know how to play basketball, and even in the practice or on the court is during the match is able to move in the right way, with anticipation, with the right movement, with the right position. Freshman usually, for many reasons, he wants to show something more, he has more energy, but he's not able to spend his energy like a senior. So experienced players. So for sure, this kind of heart rate, so internal load, is coming through from the ability from this movement efficiency. Are connected, the two things, okay? Like we said at the start, the big difference is that internal load gives us what's happened to our body. That is the main goal that we need. Movement efficiency give the what's coming true about this. I ask you to make some movement and you do. Movement efficiency is good, perfect, we can work on, but on the other side, we are trying to connect it to understand the effect that kind of movement has on our body. Here is the movement intensity that I show you before with this spike that you saw here, and are directly on the graph that you can see at the end of the practice. And this is just after Zane speak more about all this stuff, but I want to introduce a little bit just to understand. We are talking in athletes that coming through from a period of rest. So this is all the practice that he did first time after, I think, 2-3 weeks rest, recovery, experienced athlete. We know, you can see on the right side that we have a scale from 1 to 10 that give us the intensity of the movement means the movement that you do. Is a scale that is going, there is no normative now. You can go from 1 to 20 and 30. It's coming out from the sensor that you have inside of the sport belt. So we ask to this guy to make an easy workout, like intensity. We know from him that during the match he has a scale where he arrives on 14, 16 of this scale, of this number. So we ask him, okay, is the first practice, go easy. We reach the goal, yes, because he arrived on 7, no more. This is the main part of the drills that he did. All the others time are no important. Even this one is, maybe he move faster, but is not on the drills. So this is the main goal. Step by step, go through all the day. You can see the duration is 2 hours and 20. This is the 49 minutes, the yellow part. Here you can see this is a part, no? A lap, like I showed you before. 3 per minutes, no big difference, no big importance. Average intensity, there is, we saw that he moved more, and movement load, the movement that he did. But the intensity of these are on this one. So step by step, go through of the day, we ask him, hey, okay, move faster and do drills that you can move faster. So we'll see how you can see that in this part, for example, he moved more. Before was 49 minutes, now 1 hour and 19. 0.9 trimp, so it's plus or minus the same, average and movement load, no big difference, but the quality of the single movement is going up. So we reach the goal that we want. Third day, again, we do a good job, we improve again the quality, we are around 8 or 9, and this is the last of the 4th day that we did. Step by step, like you can see, we average movement intensity and movement load, we go up. We go up because we ask this. So this give us the external load. 3 per minute internal load, grow up, because we start with 0.9, with 0.8, and we go up. No great one, because we still have introduction in the first week that it start. But with a single intensity, we go up, and so mechanically, he tried to he do more with more intensity, and so it's important in our step-by-step grow up our conditioning, okay? This is another part. You can say in this moment is the last work that we did in that week, sorry. We ask, okay, not so long, because 1 hour, but we want that in a part you go higher. And like you saw from the spike of the graph, you can see that 14, 12, so he reached his quality. That helps us even to understand if all the, all the articulation, ankle, knee, body, how is the answer of the request, okay? And this is a way to understand and to summarize all of this. Nothing. Now I leave my part, and I give to Zane. Maybe you can do this one? No.
Not yet.
Not yet. Yes, you are right. Sorry, I don't. Oh, okay, perfect. I stopped sharing, and now Zane start to explain you more in the details all the stuff.
Okay, I'm in the process of sharing the screen. Yeah. Now it's appearing. So yes, hi to everyone. And yeah, today already Gianluca introduced you all the Firstbeat measurements that you can take with the sensor, but I'm gonna more focus on how to combine together like heart rate parameters with movement load parameters, and I'm gonna more focus on this movement efficiency and how actually it can help to interpret the data and help in the monitoring, in addition to all like usually used methods to monitor training load. Wait, I'm just hoping that the slide is going further, but yeah, it is slowly, but yeah. Just to remind a little bit, so basically when we are training, we are prescribing some kind of like physical work as a trainers, and this is like how we can interpret how high is like the external load. This external load is affecting our body, and it yeah, brings out some kind of like physiological response. So more work we put on our bodies, the bigger response, and usually we can measure both of these parameters. So if we want to monitor like training load, then we actually should look on both like external load and internal load, and at the end, like how hard is your body working, and if you continue to do this kind of like training many times, then this will cause an adaptation. If we go further, then if we just like look how hard was training just on internal load parameters, that actually does not give us all of the information, because as we are training, our body is adapting and it's causing an adaptation, and this adaptation again will affect like acute physiological response to like prescribed training, and then at the end this gonna change. But if we gonna combine together both of these parameters, then we can make some sense of our training parameters. So yeah, I'm gonna more focus already, like as I said, do this movement load and trim. Gianluca already introduced this parameter, so I'm not gonna take a lot of time. So basically, movement load we are measuring using accelerometer that is in the sensor, and trim is a parameter that's basically coming from the heart rate, and we can see how hard we are training. So just to remind a bit, so basically when we do training, we fatigue our body, then it takes time to recover. Then we introduce one more training, and if the next training comes in the correct time, then we can cause a positive adaptation. But if we put too much of stress on our body, then our body can't recover, and yeah, then this adaptation could go opposite way, so and it will cause like a detraining. So let's go to a little bit more practical. And usually when we are monitoring training load, then most of the time the trainers are using acute chronic workload ratio. And as we know, like if the acute chronic workload ratio is between 0.8 to 1.3, then usually it's called like a sweet spot. So basically you're gonna maintain or improve your training adaptation. If it goes higher, then yeah, there's like a danger zone, and maybe it is you are putting too much stress on your athlete's body, and it could cause some injuries or like detraining, or yeah, just like not detraining, sorry, but yeah, overtraining basically. Firstbeat is doing, I would say, a great job. They are also providing like reports of like how training load is going over the time. And I like actually this data visualization way. So basically in one picture, you can see how the training load is like changing over the time. And in the same picture, you can see basically acute and chronic workload ratio. And for example, if you are in this gray band, that means that you are in the sweet spot, like your acute chronic workload ratio is between 0.8 and 1.3. So it's a great visualization. Thus you can see like how hard are you training and if you are in the correct zone. But altogether, there is also a lot of criticism against like acute chronic workload ratio, because all these like numbers that are coming out, yeah, are based on different parameters that we are inputting in. For example, we use the same like ratio for internal workload evaluation, external workload evaluation, and actually we don't know if it's correct. And then again, also for acute chronic workload ratio calculation, there are different time frames to which you calculate acute load and for which you calculate chronic workload. Usually, most often, like people calculate acute load based on based on 1 week, like 7-day period, and chronic workload for 28 day period, but it's basically arbitrary selected time frame, and we are not quite sure if it's like correct. And then also in others say that maybe it's a little bit better to take 3 weeks than for chronic workload calculation. And then others say maybe we need to even take like 6-week period. So we actually don't know which is correct way, but still it's like there is a criticism against this acute chronic workload ratio, but it is one of the tools that we practically can use. Okay, we should interpret this parameter with the caution still and keep all this information in the back of our heads, but yeah, it's one of the most popular parameters that we can use, and we can't put it in a garbage. It still somehow works. And if the acute load is increasing too much, like compared to the chronic load, then at some point there's gonna be like increased injury risk. Of course, we don't know precisely like which is the threshold for 100%, but still you shouldn't increase workload too much in short period of time. That might cause some kind of like increased injury risk or overtraining. But still, it's like working as a compass how we can guide our training load. So there's also this, as I mentioned, this one criticism that we are using like different parameters to calculate acute and chronic workload ratio. In the Firstbeat system, you can also see like acute chronic workload ratio, but it's taken from the internal load parameter from the TRIMP. Yeah. But then we can say that maybe external load, for the external load, we also should have a look at the acute chronic workload ratio, but we can't find these parameters in the Firstbeat system by itself. But there's a good option to export the data. And when you export the data, then in those spreadsheets, there is also like this movement load. And if you take out, then you can work with your Excel spreadsheet or with Power BI or with RStudio, as I am doing, and then also calculate by yourself like acute load, chronic load, and this ratio. This is also one option if you are working with the R or you are afraid working with the R. There's this athlete monitoring package, like Mladen Jovanovic has done quite a good job. Like you can just put adjust a code just a little bit and get out quite good data visualization. For example, you can see the heat maps for the load interpretation. Then you can see on which days there's more, which days are usually more intense. And then also you can get out basically that day's training load, and also calculate acute and chronic workload for these parameters. What's also good in this package is it's that you can adjust also which period you are taking to calculate acute chronic workload ratio. Basically, if you can't make up your mind which would be the best way to do it, you can just maybe do the calculations for different periods and see how the data is changing. So if you are just new to R, then I would advise you also to use this package. And later also in the presentations, you will see a couple of plots that you can get out if you use these data visualization options. Yeah, for example, this is an example of Firstbeat data. And as you can see in the Firstbeat platform by itself, I can see just internal training load, how it's changing. But if I want to see how external load is changing, then I need to make the visualization from exported data by myself. So basically, here you can see individual trainings with the bars, then with the green acute load, and with the violet line this chronic workload, and how it fluctuates over time. And here you can see also acute chronic workload ratio. So basically, then you can do the same for the internal parameters and compare if it looks different. From these plots, we can see that basically the lines go in the similar way. Yeah. But yeah, just how to know also if the athletes are physically prepared to prescribe training load, because when you meet athletes for the first time, or they are new to you, then of course you are talking with them to try to understand how much they have been training, but usually you also don't get quite precise data regarding that. So at the start you already need to give them some training load and then see how they are adjusting to it. And for this also acute chronic workload ratio is not going to help. You can't see how should they train at the start, because at the start period you even can't calculate this acute chronic workload ratio. Of course there are different ways how you calculate, so you can get a little bit sooner this parameter out, but still acute chronic workload ratio is not the best way how at the start prescribed training load. So what would be other options? So basically, the athletes could take heart rate variability measurements, and then they are taking, for example, every morning heart rate variability measurements. You are putting on some load and then seeing if the heart rate variability is increasing or it's reducing. If it's increasing, then you are putting on correct physical load. But if it's reducing, then probably they are just not well recovered and it's too much for them. But regarding heart rate variability, in my experience, there's bad adherence to this measurement, especially I would say maybe even in the team sports athletes, because endurance athletes, they are used to doing different stuff and so on. But yeah, for the team sports athletes, yeah, in my experience, there's low adherence. So if you just get 1 or 2 measurements per week, you can't interpret this data, and basically, yeah, then you can't use this at all. So we need to think of another option, what we can use to see, yeah, if it's going good or bad. Then you can compare external movement load to internal movement load all together. So basically, as already also Gianluca mentioned, like if external load increases and internal load reduces, it means you became more efficient, and that means that the training adaptation is good. So this is also one basic way how sometimes I like to present the data and demonstrate that they are improving. For example, here you can see external movement load. More red the color, the more intense are the training. So basically, and if you switch fast between these calendars, then you can see that basically external load here by the end of the month is even increasing. Yeah, it's becoming even more red. But for internal load, the start of the month is more red and the end is lighter red. It means that at the start of the month, there was like higher internal training load, but at the end, it was reduced. And if you switch that, then you can see that basically this athlete became more, better and more efficient. Their movement efficiency was increased because with the greater external load, the internal load was reduced. This is, of course, not the most scientific way how to present, but all the time, like also the science needs to come to the practitioners, and then basically you just need to give the message. And if you can just like switch and say, oh yeah, you see external loading, it's the same or even a little bit increased, but internal load is lower, then you're saying you have done, for example, for the trainer, you can say, yeah, you have done good job with this guy. So yeah, just keep going on. Another parameter that combines together, and maybe it's like over time is more easier to show how the movement efficiency is changing, is this movement efficiency parameter. Basically, you are taking external load and dividing it by the internal load. Yeah. So if the number is bigger, that means that more work you have done with the less physiological response or less stress in your body. Here you can see an example of one athlete that at the start actually was like a little bit higher, the movement efficiency, then it reduced and then started to increase again. Why I also want to show this way, why you need to use maybe sometimes movement efficiency, because let's have a closer look at this time period when the movement efficiency reduced. If we go, it's like the same data, the same athlete. If we go and have a look at acute chronic workload ratio, we would say, okay, the acute chronic workload ratio is fluctuating, but it's between 0.8 and 1.3 usually, with some minor periods when it's a little bit higher or a little bit lower. Yeah. So basically, if we use classical parameter, then we are saying everything is good. But then, as we can see, if we look at movement efficiency, it's actually reducing. Yeah. So basically, it means that acute chronic workload ratio is not, it shouldn't be your only tool to adjust the training load. It could show that you are doing good job, but if you look at movement efficiency, you can see that maybe it's for this, for example, athlete, it's maybe a little bit too much, because for him, acute chronic workload ratio maybe should be maybe 1.2. It's just like guessing a little bit, yeah, but as the load is here higher, then yeah, basically it might be that the tipping point and the threshold for this athlete is a little bit different than we usually see in the literature. So let's have a look further. If we have a look at acute chronic workload ratio later, and we just take a snapshot out of this, then everybody would say, okay, the workload at this time period is increasing a lot, but so it might cause an overtraining. But this time, if we look here, then we can see it's this time period, and actually the movement efficiency is increasing. So it's completely like different results. Of course, we can understand, try also to explain it. For example, here we can see that the athlete got some contact injury. It's more like accident. It wasn't like something due to the overload, but still we can see maybe he was a little bit too tired and didn't read the situation a little bit earlier. So basically, acute chronic workload ratio was like changing, going down because the small period. But only after a small time, we were introducing like training load that was similar to the previous workload. So basically it means that probably during those couple of weeks, it didn't cause a lot of detraining, because still this athlete was doing some kind of like job also from conditioning perspective. So basically we could introduce the training load back faster, because it wasn't so long a time ago when the athlete was doing the same training intensity and getting the same training load. But yeah, if we just look at acute chronic workload ratio, then it shows it's going too high. Yeah, but it wasn't so, because at this point we started to figure out that this maybe is actually the parameter where to go. And if you combine these both parameters together, then you get a little bit better picture, and you shouldn't just rely on one of the parameters. Another way also at what you should look, for example, if you have an option to put like, for example, the Firstbeat sensor on during the games, then you can compare how high is the load during the games to how high is the load during the training. And for example, just have a look for so we don't go too long, just have a look at internal load parameters. If we have a look here and it's around 170, here the trend line goes, with some exceptions. In some games, the athlete get a bigger load. Then we can see that, for the training, it was also like similar. So basically, this athlete was prepared to do this time, like this kind of load during the games. But if we are thinking, for example, that this athlete should do more time on the court during the game, then actually we would need to increase also like conditioning for this athlete should train more. So also during the games, the load is not going like out of the usual load. That might cause like fatigue during the game, and by the end, the athlete might get too tired, and it might be a little bit higher risk of the training. So for now, for this athlete, it's in a way good, but if we want to increase the time, then we need to do a little bit more of the training. Why I'm saying just kind of okay, because when we look here, we can see a little bit like trend that over this time period, the internal load is increasing during the games, but external load is not changing. So basically, it's still a little bit, this athlete would need like a conditioning. But as we saw here, so the trainer is on his way. Basically, the movement efficiency is increasing. And if he continued with the same type of training and also enough recovery, then close probably the fitness level would improve, and also the slight differences that we can see would be eliminated. So at the start, when I was starting to interpret the Firstbeat data, I was just like making these kind of plots without the background, but then later actually you notice that there are also Firstbeat is providing some reference values and for the different sports. So basically, if you want to get like a compass where your athletes are compared to other athletes in this sport, then probably you should have a look at these reference data and see like if the load is high or low, and so on. So here is an example with the reference values for internal training load. I'm just like taking internal training load for the basketball, then putting the bands so I understand. So it's easier to see that, this is training is easy, this is moderate, and this is hard for the athlete. And if we make these plots, then we can see, for example, over the time for the many athletes that the internal training load, for example, here is reducing. For athlete 6, it's not changing a lot. Maybe a little bit there is a tendency to reduce, but basically for the other athletes that was training earlier, then we can see that internal load is reduced. If we have a look just at internal load, then it's hard to say how to interpret this data. If I don't know what was the training, then I would say maybe training was like just easier. Over the time, they got easier training load, and that's why we are seeing that it's not so much so intense. But the other interpretation is that they got better. So basically, external load stayed the same, but internal load went down. And that we can see if we have a look at external load parameters for the same athletes in the same time period. And then we see, okay, external load did not reduce so much, maybe for some, but basically we can see that the tendencies is that the training load did not use. So my interpretation of this data would be, they got more efficient. Movement efficiency increased because they were doing the same job with the same internal load. So this is good. Also, you can see in the real-time scenario, when you're working with multiple athletes, it's not that all the athletes have the same bars. You see that different athletes have like different training amount and so on. One athlete started to work out later. So basically, in real life scenario, you're not gonna get like smooth plots, but still you can interpret the data. There might be some kind of like dropouts, athlete forgot to take the belt with them, or just got some injury, or just like went away. So but still, like if you are consistent and still there's a dropout of the training, it doesn't matter, you still should have a look over the time, and then basically you can still get a good information how it changes. And here, it's like if you want to just combine together, as I said, like you can also just calculate movement efficiency. It is this external load divided by internal load. And as we can see that, yeah, for some athletes, there is a tendency for movement efficiency to increase. Yeah. So it means they got better in this time period. And yeah, here is just a group trend. So basically, when I'm giving the feedback to trainers, then I provide the plots like athlete by athlete, and then you can also see the trends of the whole like team or whole group. Yeah. So basically, you can see also for the whole group that the movement efficiency has a tendency to increase. At the start it was lower and then it increased. And yeah, external load kind of went the same and internal reduced. So this was like how to get the information over the time, how to monitor the athletes and see if the prescribed training program is working. But if you want to see just after this one training, get already some feedback, what can you do? In the Firstbeat system, you can see how training how intense was training. You can have a look at average heart rate, percentage of heart rate max, like the peak intensity, distribution between different heart rate zones, and then also like this average movement intensity and internal load, like TRIMP intensity in a way. Yeah. But I'm also like taking and exporting this data out. And for example, here to have a look how the training intensity was for separate athletes. For example, here you can see the bands, yeah, based on the Firstbeat reference values. Blue band means it's easy training, moderate, and hard. Yeah, here I'm using the bands from this previous table that I provided you, but then I also found like probably adjusted information here a little bit different thresholds, but it's still normative values is gonna adjust over the time. And I actually like that the Firstbeat is also adjusting these values. It means they are just improving as they get more data. Also, these thresholds gonna be better and better. So over the time, probably, yeah, these thresholds will be better, but still at the start, they can give you a compass if the training was easy, moderate, or hard. Based on TRIMP, you can see that, yeah, for the most of the athletes, training was at moderate intensity, but for one athlete, it was easy. Then we can have a look at from the external load perspective. For one athlete, it was still like easy training, for others moderate. And how sometimes I like to put together to get also a glimpse how this training looks. Just like to put together, for example, here I have put the green. So basically it means if the external load is moderate or high and the internal load is low or moderate, it means that, yeah, athletes are good and you shouldn't worry about them at all. The movement efficiency of them is really, really good. Yeah. Then the whites are just like where usually the athletes are. And the red one is basically if the movement external load, yeah, the job they are doing is at a low intensity, but internal response is high, then you should be worried. You should have a closer look at how this athlete looks over the time. Yeah, maybe to see and then just have a talk with this athlete, maybe asking if the athlete did not sleep so well. But yeah, maybe basically, yeah, if the athletes go in this way, when when internal load compared to external load is high, then it's like a red flag when you should maybe have a look at previous data or just have a talk with this athlete. Yeah. It's just a different way how you can see how intense one training looks like. And then, thank you for your attention. And basically, there is not one magic solution. There is like, doesn't matter like what kind of like devices, sensors or parameters you are gonna use. There's not gonna be one that will give you all the answers. But this is the one way how you can improve your toolbox and get like more comprehensive view of the training process, if it's going in a correct direction or it's too much for them. So thank you. So I will now give back the stage to Gianluca, and he will talk about.
I come back. Okay. Perfect. So I want to introduce now in a new situation, or better. Until now, me and Zani especially, because she is the scientific of the group, so she talked about that evaluation of the training or what's happened. And all this evaluation is made after or during, especially after the process of practice. The idea, even you can read in the presentation, using standardized training session to evaluate training adaptation. What means? I am more practically than theoretically. What means that conditioning coach, and is the main goal that we are looking with Oscar when we arrive in Latvia basketball team. The idea is to find a practice, to find a moment, to find a point in the week or in the short period, because I remind you, we are talking about national team in this case. So they have a short moment to prepare important tournament, important goal, important game. It's happened the same with the team that working week by week or in the championship, but it's a longer process. In this case especially, it's very important to find and to reach the goal of the practice, the physical goal of the practice. So how we can do this one? In my opinion, all the tools that Firstbeat give us, all the develop, all the study that we can make about the result, but we have to find a way, we have to find a moment where we know that we are going to give a important load. And for this reason, I go through and I show you. The idea, set all the metrics, perfect, everything is nice, everything helps us, but in reality, we need to find a conditioning training in basketball. We need to find a moment where we know which kind of load we give. And step by step, if we know the load that we give to the athletes and to the team totally, we know if it's going better during the period or not. So the idea is to find and to reach an important and some practice where we focus on one physical point and we reach the goal that we need. So, two most important things in a preparation, in the conditioning of the team: metabolic training and this is an idea. This is something that I want to think about because I'm practically more than theoretically. So I have to find a way. I call high intensity conditioning drill, workout in basketball. and we are looking what I mean for this. So now we step by step we go through about these two things. Metabolic training, okay. Practice, key points. Metabolic useful training zone are between 80 to 90% of maximum heart rate. Evaluation of the pause time for useful exercise, if recovery is from 5 to 30 seconds maximum, we are effectively stimulating the aerobic system. So metabolic training, about the basketball. The volume of the work and its location depending on the total amount of the time in the effective training zone. Okay, how many time we spend there? Perfect. And for sure, to reach over this goal, we need to find and to evaluate the maximum heart rate or the threshold of heart rate. And we do usually all the team or many teams doing make I don't know some simple exercise like Leger test or other tests to find the maximum heart rate. Honestly, in my experience, in my opinion, we can find this one even for sure with a specific test is the best one. But if we have a lot of practice time recorded, even the system, for example, Firstbeat, might even other, but Firstbeat in this moment give us a maximum heart rate or give an idea of when we are reach the high level. Okay, so even this, better if we do a test, yo-yo test, for example, or Leger, like I said. But this is metabolic training practice key points. I make some example, simple and not so hard. Fartlek, classic running with variation of speed, aerobic and power aerobic running with short recovery, or intermittent exercise, indoor or outdoor. This is some exercise, and I want to show you how is the record. For example, is the classic. I know that is old, but not old, sorry. But I know that is something traditional. But I like even. I'm coming from track and field, so I know that this part, like a conditioning coach, I know that if I make my athletes run 600 meters, 300 meters, aerobic power we call, okay, with a good time. So from the test, I reach and I find the right speed that they have to run. So I find the time that they have to go, and I put my team to do that one. It's a traditional way to work, but it's a workout for, especially for the conditioning coach, give a solution. I mean, I know that in this case, I give the effort and I give to my team, if they reach this goal, this practice, say finish this practice, I know what I give to them, which kind of metabolic practice I give to them. Okay, how you can see from 80 to 95 in this case, and this is 600 meters, 300 meters, 600 meters, 2 times, 1 time 300 meters, 6 times and 3 times, and 300 times, 300 meters, sorry. And this is, I reached the goal, okay, I know. For sure, we are talking about basketball players, we are talking about tall players, heavy players, are not able or are not so able, and it can be stressful to make them run. For sure, not in track and field place, maybe on the grass, maybe on the other situation, but we risk. And we need times to do this. We can do this with the team, but for sure, no, we can't do, or is not usually to do with the national team. The guys arrive and you have only 3, 4, 5 weeks. And after you have the main goal of the period, important game. So it's hard to make this one, but it's a way to develop the metabolic side. Another way, for example, and I can say I write down even the time when I did this one. We are talking about a second level of team, not Pro A, but Pro B team, A2 team. And this is a classic 20-second walk, 20-second rest. Is the goal that we talked before, intermittent exercise, indoor. Usually we work this 5 seconds, we sprint, we run 5 seconds, certain distance, specific distance, and 5 seconds for 4 times, we change your direction, and after we rest 20 seconds, okay? And what's going on? This is the main goal. We call navetta in Italian side, but okay. We reach the goal because 80%, even this is coming, the distance is coming from the test that we did before, and so the speed they have to reach to complete the workout. Another way, and it works well, perfect. Other way, 20 seconds, 20 rest, or 10 seconds, 20 rest. The request was 80-90% of frequency of pulse on maximum, heart rate. And here are varied working time, different time to work with the identical recovery. And how you can see, we can reach the goal. Perfect. Now I remind you, we are far away to a typical, because this is running, going back. We have, okay, running, we change direction. But this is not basketball. This is the basic run. Shuffle is another way. Okay, 30 second intermittence for block 30 seconds. And all this is part, we are talking about the first 4 blocks, are determined from the group, and the players are dividing group. When I ask this is an example, hold one, how you can see from the graph. But when I ask to the coach, okay, make a metabolic workout with the ball, without particular indication. And now you can see we didn't able to reach a good goal, okay? So I try to fix this problem, and I try to give him an idea. Metabolic workout with the goal, this one and this one, okay? For example, we work out with 4 against 0 and 5 against 0. So the team can work with a good level because we are reaching 80% of pulse, or maximum frequency, okay, heart rate frequency, 80% or more. So we are working in the goal to 80 to 90 metabolic workout. How you can see here, in the time that they work an aerobic threshold, we find something, and trim per minutes, like we saw before, trim per minutes, we arrive at 2.1, 2.3. In the normal workout was lower, sorry, in the complete workout was lower. Average heart rate 80%, 82, so we arrive close to that point. And how we say, working in this case in specific drills. So 4 against 0 or 5 against 0 means that the team work and reach the goal of a metabolic workout, moving with a classic movement that the coach wants from the team. So 5 against 0, we don't have nothing opponent in front. We work for 2 courts, around 30 seconds, and we have to be able to organize. So it's something after I show you, but is something to organize, to have one time to work and one time to rest. In this way, we are reaching the goal that we are looking for, metabolic workout. This is enough. After we arrive with the HICD, because that one is one part of the important goal that we need, like a basketball player, a basketball team. The other important is the high level intensity, conditioning, I don't know how we can call, is This is something that I try to introduce just because I want to be more effective, easier, and more close to the basket. So, high intensity conditioning drill is a time efficiency workout routine in which extremely high intensity drill are performed for short bursts followed by a brief rest period. For example, it involves performing exercise at the maximum speed for a gridded time of seconds, followed by recovery equal or to or half to the work time. And the recovery can be static or dynamic, light dynamic. You repeat the high activity bursts and rest several times in a row. So this is an idea. Like we did before, the key points of this are the metabolically useful training zone is over the 85-90% of maximum heart rate. Evaluation of time, opposed time for useful exercise. If recovery is 1 to 1 or 2 on 1, we are effectively stimulating the anaerobic system. The volume of work and its location depend on the total amount of time in the effective training zone, sure, and the entire routine should take from 20 to 30 minutes. Even here is very important maximum heart rate and the threshold heart rate. About 20 to 30 minutes is something that, in my experience, I take for. I show you which kind of research. It's something that I would like to introduce, and something that we introduce, we are moving to introduce, thanks to Zan and especially to Oscar, with the national team of Latvia, because this can help us with a specific workout to reach the goal of conditioning that we need, high conditioning, okay? For example, usually the conditioning practice workout is, this is a classic one. I'm sorry, but I'm coming from the track and field, so I have the classic one. Training with repeated test, series of tests of 20 meters with recovery, specific exercise to circle. I make some example that don't reach the goal that we want, because we don't arrive. For example, this is my hold exercise of I run 3 times with the rest, 4 repeat of 20 meters with short rest. 4 rest long, 4. This is the classic aerobic power in track and field, and is nothing that we need in basketball, for example. Okay, so I show you this to understand and to make an example that we are far away what we are reaching for in basketball. Okay, so coming back, all these 3 things that give me a conditioning practice workout is not reach the goal, is not reach in a way where I have a time where I have not big time, but I have to find, I have to looking for a practice where I develop what I need physically, and on the other side, I have some technically or tactically movement. So, what's going on? Follow the research in team sport. This is some example. So, moving from the theoretical and the truth that we can find the research in physiology in team sports, I try to understand, try to find an idea of practice that we are moving on with the national team, and we hope that it works. I mean, but this is an idea. The organization. There are different exercises. So what we can say from the exercise, first things, we have to say this. We have to reach an exercise because we are looking for high intensity workout, 85-90% or more of the frequency. We are looking for exercise where the number of the players is not so much. Because if we play 5 against 5, for sure the intensity, or not for, I mean, the idea is to involve everybody in the workout and the drills. So if I'm going shorter with the players, I'm sure that all of them work harder, okay? If I move 5 against 5, there can be some exercise, some players that maybe are not on the maximum intensity that I'm looking for. Clear? So, for example, we are 3 against 3 from tap-in. This is some example. How many players? 12, tap-in, and we run. How much? 24, 30 seconds. Maximum time for every action is 8, 15 seconds. So going faster is like a fast break or like a short movement, okay? It's not a metabolic where I move 5 against 0 and so I develop my screen. No, I have to make some faster. Breakdown, fast break, easy action or other. But what is important, we have to organize well. So this is just an idea. Every time that the ball is out, ball on defense, faster. All the assistants stay with the ball, so we put faster the ball because we don't need that the intensity go down. And usually, for example, in the last part of the action, we don't call foul. How many times? From 5 to 7 minutes. How many series? From 3 to 5 minutes to reach the goal that we said before. Sorry, I show you that we need to stay from 20 to 30 minutes. So if I am with the duration of 5-7 minutes every part of the workout and 3-5 set with the rest recovery, I reach that goal, okay? And here you can see some example. For sure, if you move 1 against 1 or 2 against 2 in a row, can be in a high, more intensity, and we have to develop. This is to involve. This way is to involve all the players or most of the players, because here we need 12 players, 9 players. So to do that one, and you can see an example. That kind of exercise has to organize and fix and make right with the coach, because every coach is different. So in this moment, the idea is, coach, we find drills that can help us, from conditioning coach to basketball coach, to put together and to find some exercise inside of the practice where we know that we give a big effort, a big, high intensity conditioning drills. So a big part of the conditioning to our players, to our team. This can help us to give a spot in a week, but if we make a comparison from the first 1 week, other time that we repeat, we can have even a develop of our conditioning, if it's going up or down. We can see if some guys are in the good one or not. And we can see and we can show directly, immediately, not like we said before with Zane, that, okay, at the end of the situation, we understand that this guy was not in shape. It's too late. We have to find something. So we have to clean the exercise from situation that can go down and put down the intensity. This is our idea, the idea of the HICD, basketball workout. This is the idea. It's just an example. I can show, so, modulable parameters, number of players involved, the playing area, we can, a quarter of a court, half court, full court, the duration of the active phase, recovery time, and the total specific training time, the density of the practice. I can show you some that we call, condition with the ball. We are reaching not so much, okay, 85%, but we are not be able to reach. Why? We have to understand, we have to maybe not write the exercise. We make some mistake, but the idea is that one. This part the middle part has to be, the yellow part, the lap side, has to be on that way. If we saw the numbers of the session of the practice and the condition with the ball, honestly, we grow up, okay? An aerobic threshold zone, if you saw 37 minutes for one guy, and the second guy is 20 of that, so the half time was in high threshold. But like you can see from the graph, we didn't reach a great goal, okay? After we saw other example. Trim per minutes is going up, both or three. Not like I we want, but it's going up. You can see everybody go up from 1.3, 1.1, 1.6, in 1.7, the first one, 1.4 instead of 1.1, and 2.1. So we reach a little goal. On this one, we do a little better. But how you can see, after the first part of warm-up, we do 3 blocks of conditioning workout or HICD workout. But even the last part, the coach push. And so we keep going on this. 85% is a big part of the practice. How you can see on the time zone, 19 minutes and 30 seconds and 32 minutes. So instead of 2 hours of work, 1 hour and 56 minutes, we have 50 of these, so mostly half of the time, we are higher than 80-85% of maximum error rate. So we reach a good goal. This is another example of the, I take off extrapolation, making extrapolation of this. For example, this guy, big man, instead of he make 19 minutes high intensity training. In 19 minutes, 13 of these was in the condition with the ball. So means that this guy worked well, he was focused on, and like you can say, trim per minutes from 1.7 arrived to 2.4. Okay? This shows us that in that moment we reach a high intensity exercise. This is another exercise that I show you some even taken from this basketball team on the second division. Okay, 21% of the time we are over the 85% of heart rate. Here we have the same idea. The guys, all the practice and the condition with the ball just are only for 20 minutes, but we reach a good goal. We grow up with the trim per minutes. An aerobic threshold was good. Not all the time when we arrive. And especially the peak heart rate, we reach all this peak heart rate except this guy, but we reach during the conditioning with the ball. So it means that we push them with this kind of exercise, we push them to give the maximum on that part. For sure, like we can say from the graph after, we have other moment, but most of the time in the conditioning with the ball, we find this. Okay, the drills that we are looking for. Allora, this is, like I said, this is an idea. This is something that is a, how we can say, start to make some research and some more things. Example, just to give some idea to reach. With Oscar, we try with the national team, we try to develop this one. For sure, we don't have many times, but it's very important, especially because we don't have many times, to find and to give some, and we know, so in this way, we know what we can give to our athletes, our team. Is not the only one, okay? Because here we come back to another kind of features that Firstbeat give us, heart rate recovery. Heart rate recovery is another feature that we are trying to develop. In which heart rate decreases after a period of activity. It is an indicator of cardiovascular fitness. HRR correlates with performance in endurance testing. Fitter athletes recover faster. It reflects parasympathetic reaction following activity, which means how quickly the athlete can return to recovery state. This is a good measurement, a good feature, because it gives us, how you can say here from the graph on the right, 30 seconds, 60 seconds, and 120 seconds. So plus or minus 30 seconds, 1 minute, and 2 minutes. How the heart rate, the frequency is going down. Here with the numbers, with how many pulses go down, or in percentage of the maximum. And it's very nice because it's very good because this helps us. And we can use this one with the drills that we say before, because it can give us, during the moment that we repeat the same exercise, how our athletes recover fast and recovery better or no. And so can give an indication of us if the guys is in the good condition or is going up with the condition or is going down. So we have immediate idea. How we can say, this one, all the numbers and all the data that Firstbeat has, instead of all the kind of sports that they follow. So we have a big number, big data that we can understand. And so we can have a distribution of the athletes in absolute heart rate recovery values. So we can have for 30 seconds, and we can understand how our athlete, in comparison of the other, comparison of the other, if are in which moment, in which point are. This is something that we are going to develop, and I think we know that we are working on. Okay, but never stopping. New idea from the future. For example, this is something that I enjoy to do. Minutes, I try to find the recovery, because we are talking before with Zane. He showed you about the HRV, heart rate recovery. And we didn't talk, but there is another feature very important, that is recovery test that you can do with the cardio. And that one give us a number, okay? The gray one. Number that give us if you are good recovery or no. This situation, but this is a simple match that I make with the minutes played in a game with an athlete. And I put to understand every game, how many minutes he played, and how it was his recovery after the game. So I can understand after the game he has recovery or no, or if I do before the game, if he's ready to play a good game. In this second situation, are not important the time of the minutes that he played, for sure, but how he's playing. So I try to find an evaluation or VAR, minutes play. VAR is a number that give a quality, is a formula that give us a quality of the game that he played. Is a number where this percentage of 2 point, 3 point, rebound, and stuff like that. So this is just to show you that never we stop. I never stop. We never stop, because we have to go on. Because our rule, in my opinion, is to give something concrete to our coach, to our team, to help them to develop. Because the goal of everybody are in the team is to push our athletes to give their best and to obtain and fix arrive to the goal. So even all these research are working, in my opinion, in my idea, as to working on this way. Okay. So thanks to everybody, and like I said, I have no special talents, just passionate and curious. And I didn't say this. I didn't say this thinking, but he's a big man in front of me. Thank you to everybody.
Thank you, Gianluca. Thank you, Zana. This was really informative and really interesting. Please, for the live attendees, if you have any questions, please feel free to write them down in the chat. As we wait for the questions, I'll give you some maybe some my practical experience using Firstbeat. So as I said before, I'm an athletic performance coach for the national men's Latvian basketball team. And we started using Firstbeat last year, and I'm really thankful for both Gianluca and Zana for making my job easier. Gianluca is the representative from Firstbeat, and he arrived to Latvia and showed us how to use the devices, the sports center, and how to look at the data, and made sure that the first days of the practices were running smoothly, as we want for our players to be as non-invasive for us, using not as non-invasive methods and tools in our training process, so they don't even see that we're actually monitoring them or gathering data. And Zana was helping us as a consultant on daily situations after practices, looking at the data and giving some guidelines and practical applications for us to use. It really helped me to make better decisions as we're using subjective monitoring tools, we're using objective monitoring tools. And when the head coach asks me as an athletic performance coach, like, hey, Oscars, what do you think about the next practice? Are we going with the plan that we developed before, or we are adjusting? Do we need longer practice? Do we need more intense practice? Do we need shorter practice or less intense practice? And as in every situations, most of the players are getting the load that we want them to have. Some players are getting the load is maybe too high as we need, and then maybe we need to look that in the next practice session or practices, we're trying to substitute them more often so they have more rest time. Maybe we need to take them off in the last 15-20 minutes of the practice. And on the opposite side of the coin, that maybe there are some athletes who are not getting enough load. So maybe we need to do another conditioning drill or another basketball drill just to get everybody. It's a team sport, but at the end of the day, we want to try to hit individual goals at the same time, and make sure that when the official games arrive, everybody is in the best shape for us to perform as good as we can. So Firstbeat has been really valuable for us. We're using it, and hopefully that you receive some good information about not just about our experience, but also about how to practically apply it. If we look at the chat, I don't see any questions, but Gianluca, Zana, and me, Oscars, you can ask us questions maybe on our Instagrams, or if you find us somewhere. We're really open of sharing our experience and our opinion how to work. It's like Gianluca said at the end, it's a never ending process. We're always looking for, just as you, how we can improve. And there are many roads that lead to Rome, so hopefully we're taking the shortest and the most efficient one. So if there's no questions, then yeah, thank you for attending, and have a great day.
Bye bye.
Say bye.
Bye bye.